We've got a jam-packed episode of news on this week's episode of Friend Code. Welcome everyone to a new episode of Friend Code. I'm Michael Damiani, your host, and I'm joined today by two new guests. First time appearances on Friend Code. We got Ian Hinck.
Hi.
And Brandon Jones.
Hi.
I've just about had everyone of the EZA crew on here. Just gonna get Don on here. Gotta find a day when Don's available. We'll have everyone on the crew on Friend Code. That's one of my goals.
Nice.
A little bit of housekeeping real quick before we get into the discussions. There is no Dear Nintendo and there's no Last Call segment this week because as you'll see, there is a lot to talk about.
Great.
And we always shoot for an hour long. This is probably going to go a little bit over, so didn't want to really try not to break that rule. And I saw all the feedback for last episode. Seemed like everyone wanted me to include the Q&A with the video, so I apologize for that. I thought it was just going to bog it down, but if we ever do that again, it will definitely be multiple people talking about a single game. If you didn't see what it was like a focus on Super Mario 64, meant to have multiple people discussing like the game and its merits and how good it was. But if it's ever going to be like a one-off like that again, it probably will not be Friend Code. It'll probably be something else. That was the pretty clear mandate. Is like people did want more of that. Just if you're going to make it a short produced video like that, that's not Friend Code. Let's call it something else. So message heard loud and clear. So thank you for all that nice feedback. Let's dive into it. Let's start off with some events that recently happened. Start off with San Diego Comic-Con, which just ended this past week. Brandon Jones and I got to head down and check out some of the cool stuff down there. And I believe this was the first time Brandon got to get hands-on time.
Right.
With Super Mario Odyssey, which was at Nintendo's booth at Comic-Con. And we all shared all of our thoughts back at E3. Brandon Jones, how does it feel to have played Super Mario Odyssey?
It feels good. I don't know what kind of a revelation it is to walk away from a Mario game saying that it controls well. It's just kind of like, yeah, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
The thing that was interesting for me was that you had to play with the Joy-Con separated from the controller. So when you walk up to the station, they just had the blue and red. I was like, oh, okay. Like it'd be nice to play with a pro controller, or I'm just like used to playing, with the controller like intact, and like I think it sells well when you do the ad for the Switch. You see people like going independent. They just like put the stand up, and the guys on the plane like playing Skyrim, and I like them all my buttons to kind of be secured in one space. But that's the way it was, and so I had to play it that way and like didn't have any difficulty. Like we talked a little bit before about it's a little awkward moving the camera on a thing that can also move independently, and that's not affecting the camera. But Amanda, my wife, played with me really quick, and I got into the city level and she did the desert level. And she actually enjoyed the motion controls because she was experimenting a lot with what they were doing. And the one move that I wish I could do was the circle like spin, so you like take the hat and it spins in the radius around you, and couldn't figure out how to do that. But I guess that's like you like either move both of them or move one of the.
Wait, that game has motion controls?
Yes.
I did not know that.
There you go.
That's scary to me.
I think they are all entirely optional. I think that one move though, the making the hat go around a circle, even with the Pro controller, you do have to shake it like that.
Okay.
But that move didn't seem necessary for anything I saw in either of the two levels. So
yeah,
it does offer it, but it seems like you can do whatever.
I just want to be a hot shot.
Yeah.
I think there was like there was like one area where I went in and I was in the middle of a circle of cones that I could knock out, and so I was like, oh, this would be a perfect opportunity to do that thing I saw in the trailer. How does he do that? But yet did not have any. There was no issue where I was like, I want to jump on that thing. I want to get up there. The controls aren't letting me. Like it was very intuitive. I think they did a good job of showing off a lot of the cool things that you could do in the gameplay trailers that they've shown so far. And so I immediately was like, I know I can whip my hat on that. I know I can take over that thing. And loved the vibe. Had to put a band together for the party in the city, and couldn't find the last band member. Time got cut off before I was able to finish up the whole area. But maybe it was like a little smaller than I first thought, New Donk City would be, but I wonder if we maybe get other versions of New Donk City. Like, I don't know if like time of day passes while you're in the area.
I don't know if it happens when you're in the area, but they're definitely different. There's day and night in that game, and different areas seem to be available that we didn't see in the playable demo that were in the trailer. Like there's a boss battle at night on one of the skyscrapers, that like worm-looking thing where you gotta turn into like Tank Mario or whatever and fire the things at that.
And Bowser's challenging you obviously in one shot. You know, he's
Yeah.
got Peach, and so yeah, I wonder if that's like if we're meant to leave the city and then go back later, like after having acquired a different ability, or
Well, the city's a hub, right? That leads
Yeah.
to other levels, or
Apparently, it's its own world. It's
Oh, okay.
not the hub area. Is
Oh, okay.
what they were saying. I would kind of be interested to know your thoughts if you did get to try out the desert level, because that is more of an open environment. That seemed way like had a bigger size to it. I felt like I was able to go off in more directions and explore when I was able to play that one versus New Donk, which it was fun to go around and check out things, but it felt a little bit like more tighter packed, more condensed than the desert level for sure.
Does the city have a vendor to sell outfits?
Yes.
Because Amanda found the vendor in the desert level, and I never found the one in the city.
Trying to remember which building it was in, but I believe each area will have one. I think each area's one introduces like I'm gonna assume introduces like one or multiple new outfits. But yeah, I was in one of the rooms because I think Kyle found like a secret room as well, like when looking for that. But yeah, there was a lot. Definitely you cannot do it. The time that they give you cannot see everything. So that's more proof that like they are decent sized environments. It sounds like you didn't actually get a chance to try it at E3 then, Ian, because you were asking about like the controls and stuff.
I didn't. I haven't played it.
I mean, from the stuff you've seen about it, does the Super Mario Odyssey look more intriguing to you than some of the more recent 3D Mario games? Or is it about, like, okay.
Absolutely. It looks like a return to like Sunshine or obviously 64 more than World or the other ones, the 3D ones. The Wii one, I mean.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
yeah. 3D World or
There's
Land?
Galaxy 2, and 3D World. 3D Land was on 3DS.
Land was on 3DS, yeah.
Which is
Because
technically 3D Mario.
I love Galaxy and I didn't
Yeah.
love World, I think. 'Cause
Okay.
the one that I don't like it with multiplayer, the co-op stuff. I did not like.
There is a sort of there is a co-op feature in this one, but it's not like two characters. It's more like the Galaxy thing with
Where someone controls the
someone
hat?
controls the hat. Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much, which looked kind of amusing when they showed it off on the Treehouse back at E3.
Is that the game that the infamous girlfriend mode was said about, Galaxy 1? Where there's like some kind of like throwaway co-op mode. Is that the game that originated that phrase?
Wasn't it? I don't know if it was that or who wasn't it?
I don't remember.
Jaffe who said that.
It might have been.
This wasn't that long ago, but I don't want to quote wrong things.
Yeah, I
either.
don't remember either.
But going back to Comic-Con, so it was, as you might have guessed from what Brandon and I said about it was the same build as E3. Same two worlds. There was nothing new about it.
I didn't even make an attempt at E3 to go over there and
Yeah.
check it out.
I was like, nope.
Defer that opportunity to other people.
Good point. While there was a line to play this game, it was about like a 20-ish minute wait at max when it was probably at its worst, maybe 30 minutes. Nowhere near the lines at E3, obviously.
Yeah, it was like 6 or 7 hours.
Everyone else at Comic-Con was fighting to get to every other thing possible, so it was kind of like nice. And if you got there within like when show floor opened and you eventually got in, if you just went over to the Mario booth like I did on Saturday, I walked right up and was able to play it. Like after an hour, a line started to like get decently sized, but if that's all you wanted to try out and went there, like it was pretty easy to play.
They had a person at every single station all along the row.
It was basically like one row with TVs on each side, and it was about like I think it was like 10 on each, so it was about 20 stations. And that was literally their whole booth was just Mario Odyssey. But that wasn't all Nintendo had at Comic-Con real quick. Every year for like a good, I forget when they started it. It was like in the last few years. They started doing a gaming lounge over at the Marriott. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Comic-Con, or didn't catch the stream I did, I tried to stream the show floor and show everything. But basically, the San Diego Convention Center is this like long, very like wide convention center, and on each side is basically two hotels. There's a Hilton that's across the street on one side, and then there's the Marriott, which is like smack dab on the other side of it. And in that Marriott hotel is where Nintendo for the last few years has done their gaming lounge. Now, for the past few years, it is even this year as well, it's been open to anyone, even if you don't have a Comic-Con badge, which is great. So if you have a hard time getting a badge, there's other activities to do down in downtown San Diego. This was one of them. So it's a really big draw.
Is it free?
Yeah, it's free as well. Now here's the word going around is that the fire marshal, which they're always cracking down on San Diego Comic-Con, cracked down on Nintendo this year and said like, listen, that room's capacity, you've been over it for the last few years. Like, we can't have this anymore. So we need you to enforce it. Otherwise, we're shutting you down.
Okay.
So that was the word that was going around that everyone was saying in the lines and everything. That's why Nintendo was enforcing line. That room used to be pretty crowded, but there was like never really a wait to get in there. You just like walked in and you just had to wait in a line, like maybe 10 deep was the longest line was any station. This year, there was a massive winding line in the room preceding the kind of like the mini exhibit hall area. It's a ballroom where they had the actual stations. And then to get into that waiting room area, there was like, it would always say line like capacity reach or queue cap for the day. Right. So they would close it off around like 4:30 every day was what I was told. Like the Saturday we were there, like after our meet and greet, people tried to go down and wait in line. They came right back up and said, "Oh, they closed it down," even though it's got like a few more hours open. So basically, there was a line to get into it this year, which kind of
I did like the Grandpa Simpson move where he like walks into the club that Bart's there and he just like grabs the hat and then goes right back out the door. Because I was like, one thing on my list was to check out Skyrim on Switch. You're like, I can imagine what it's like, but I was like, I actually kind of want to check that out. Maybe try out the motion controls and stuff. And it was like, nope, not doing that. Okay, nope. Right back out the door.
It was
never look back.
One interesting thing. I don't know if you can kind of this is all Jones real quick. This year they mailed badges in advance for some people at Comic-Con. So I got mine in advance. I got a press badge. I did not know that orange little ribbon thing or the sticky part was actually an integral part of your badge. Apparently, it wasn't needed to get.
I never put it on.
It was not needed to get into Comic-Con.
Right.
But to like prove you were press, even though my badge said press all over it. Twice I was asked where that orange sticker thing was.
Oh, I never got asked for that. Interesting.
Yeah,
okay.
one was for that thing. One was for the Nintendo Lounge. I asked him, can I just go in and look around? He goes, I'm pressed. He goes, where's your orange sticker? I'm like, you mean that thing that like every other convention that's usually like a merit award type thing? Like every other anime convention I've ever been to, these little like colored ribbon things you can like stick on the back of your badge. And they like extend down like, oh, you were like the best so-and-so cosplayer.
Yeah, it's like first place at the book fair.
Yeah, something like that.
The little ribbon.
Yeah, that's all they were. This was like important. Like it was part of the verification or proof that you were a press member with your badge.
So is that supposed to just poke out the bottom there, like on the badge?
Is it different than the E3 one, where it's like
it just had a little tiny piece of tape on it, and I'm like, I'm gonna lose it.
It was this weird. It was a weird situation.
So I just kept it in the back there.
I eventually got a hold of someone there who was like, you don't want to play games, just want to walk around. I'm like, yes, I just want to walk around there, check it out. So I got to see inside. It was nothing special. I mean, majority of it was older games. Games that already were out. I had the new Pokken Tournament DX, which was playable. I didn't see it there, and I missed it. I didn't pay attention, but Rabbids was playable there.
Ooh.
But I'm assuming it was the same as the E3 build. So that would be my only regret is I didn't realize Rabbids was there. I didn't see it when I walked around in there. And that I actually would have liked to have gotten hands-on time with that, but
it's crazy they weren't advertising it. Like you looked at the posters and it was Splatoon, ARMS, and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
They were pushing those tournaments they were doing there, but
well, they didn't even let you play Odyssey in there?
No, Odyssey was only at the booth and the show with the badge because that would have been like how crowded it was. It would have been even worse. So it was I think that was smart of them, but a little disappointing to see how it's turned out. I mean, I guess they have to start enforcing the rules, but maybe they'll pick a bigger venue next year because there's clearly more space to fill up in there, and there's they don't need to have a line like that.
The desire.
Well, it's weird because it's like there's no way they're gonna enforce capacity on the actual convention center. Like last year when I went into the Nintendo Lounge, I was never like, I might die right here. Whereas I've thought that.
Yeah.
Like walking the floor of the convention center where I'm like, wow, if somebody just pushed that guy over there and everybody dominoed right into me, like I'd be in trouble.
Comic-Con is overwhelming.
And so it's weird to wait in a line to get in a room to wait in more lines.
Yeah.
Especially if there's not a lot there that you'll miss out on if you're pressed like us. It's like definitely for people that like I didn't feel like playing Splatoon, but maybe I'll go check it out. But different than last year.
It was fun. I'll say that it was interesting to go back after so many years. A little bit tired afterwards. There was another event a week before Comic-Con. Since the last episode of Friend Code went out, a little fighting game tournament called EVO happened, and 2 Nintendo games were featured in the tournament this year. Super Smash Bros. Melee, still running strong at EVO, and as it's called, Smash 4, Super Smash Bros. For Wii U. Melee, which is usually one of the biggest draws and one of the most watched games, especially for the last 2 or so years, usually is featured on Sunday, which is like the big finals day. All the big games have their finals a day. If you're a smaller game, your finals are maybe Friday night or Saturday night. Like they kind of rush you through that. Melee got bumped to Saturday night this year in favor of Smash Brothers for Wii U taking its place on Sunday. So the Smash Melee finals were Saturday. This was known before the tournament. They made this announcement earlier this year. Seemed to go over a lot of people's heads because when they reconfirmed the schedule a week before EVO happened, there seemed to be a little bit of like, wait, what? Why is Melee being pushed out? It's like it beats out all the other games in viewership and stuff. So Melee moving to Saturday. It still did pretty well, but ended up being like the fifth most viewed tournament of the weekend. So it did have an effect on it. But it was
normally it's first.
Normally it was like 1 year it was like the number one, like most viewed. Okay. I think the year it came back when they brought Smash Brothers back for that Sunday, it like beat everyone out, I believe. Okay. Last year it had really good numbers as well. I don't think either of you. It's okay. I don't think either of you really follow like the scene very much, but like the usual suspects were in the top 8 for Melee at least. Maybe for some good matches. It was good to watch, so very entertaining there. But it was pretty much played as expected. The person who's expected to win won it all. A player named Armada beat Mango. And they're like the polar opposites. Cool
Other
names,
Mango.
by the
Not
way.
our Mango.
No, not our Mango. No. And the 2 other like last year's winner, Hungry Box, made it there too. And a player named Mewtwo King. I love that name, by the way. Also made it into top 8. So that was pretty much as expected. But Armada took it pretty convincingly, which is cool. But I want to talk more about Smash Bros. For Wii U. And taking Sunday's spot. So for those who don't follow Smash 4's fighting game scene, there's a player named Zero who's like universally agreed to be like the best player, like super dominant, like always wins, barely loses. Mains is Diddy Kong, and a lot of people view Diddy Kong as super cheap. So in the top 8, 2 things happened in the top 8 that I personally found super gratifying because ever since these things were announced for Smash Brothers for Wii U, I had this dream. And it was the DLC characters of Bayonetta and Cloud. I was like, I just dream of the day when there's a Cloud versus Bayonetta grand finals at EVO. And everyone has to watch this on stream. So it wasn't quite grand finals. It was losers semifinals, which is like 2 or 3 matches before like the final like championship.
Yeah.
Which was being broadcasted on cable on Disney XD.
Yes. Whoa.
A fighter named Salem versus a fighter named Tweak. One of them, Salem played as Bayonetta, and Tweak played as Cloud. So if you're watching, there's a photo on Disney of someone at a bar with Disney XD on, and Cloud is fighting Bayonetta at a bar. I was like, yes, what a time to be alive. I could see Cloud fight Bayonetta on cable television. Salem won with Bayonetta. Okay. Took it all, which is kind of nice to see someone different win for once. But it was I would say it was like a good showing. It was nice. I think the thing is every other company that came there had like major announcements for their games or upcoming fighting games, like new character reveals, new updates. Whereas Nintendo was like, "Hey, cool, thanks for being here, everyone. Oh, please go play Pokken Tournament DX and ARMS and Splatoon."
Yeah.
It's like, no, they're always like a little bit weird. I mean, they do throw some backing behind it, but like they don't fully embrace it. It seems like with all the other companies. So it's just basically another year where Smash is there, does okay, but it's always like a little bit like of an odd person at the party there, where like the fighting game community is like, yeah, there's fighting games and there's Smash. Smash is part of us, but like it's its own unique thing.
Yeah.
Not just because of the gameplay and stuff of it, but like just how the Nintendo treats it and stuff. So, yeah, it was nice to see, I guess. But like, important thing to take away is that like it's kind of a changing of the guard, in that Nintendo seems to want Melee to kind of be pushed aside, and wants the new game, Smash Bros. Wii U, to be the one pushed harder. They want their newer games to be pushed. So
do you think Nintendo was behind that decision?
oh yeah,
then?
Nintendo was
okay.
probably 100% behind, telling them like, you need to
Bump this.
This is one of our requests, is that you
Yeah.
bump these around. So it'll be interesting to see how the community reacts to that. If Nintendo keeps pushing that harder and harder, especially in other tournaments, to see like how the Melee side of the community reacts. I mean, they're two separate communities, but seeing how the Melee community reacts to like maybe Nintendo kind of being like, your time's over. Like, this is an old game. We're not supporting it anymore. We're not giving you an HD remake of this. Stop talking about it. We have new Smash Brothers. This is our focus.
So you think the lower viewership was just because of the rescheduling and not because people are
Oh yeah, I think it was
over
because of the rescheduling. I think if it had the slot that Smash Brothers 4 had, which was right before Street Fighter 5, which was the final event, the main event, it would have had, I think it would have done better numbers than it did on Saturday night. I think it would have done better than... So Smash Brothers for Wii U did just over 140,000 viewers on its Sunday night slot, which made it the third most viewed tournament. It was Street Fighter 5 was number 1, Tekken 7 was number 2, then Smash Brothers was number 3. So Smash Brothers for Wii U. But I think if the Melee and Smash Brothers Wii had switched places, Melee might have been higher than that. So I think Nintendo knows that unless something's forcefully done, Melee is going to continue to keep being popular. So they're kind of like, hey, we need to step in and do something about this. Like Smash Brothers Wii U has proven that it is the competitive gaming scene will embrace it, that they do like it, and it has found a better hold there than the previous one, Brawl. Brawl kind of got like dismissed, almost had one EVO showing, and it was just like, goodbye.
Yeah.
Like, you
Yeah,
are not,
yeah.
no. Tripping? What is this? No, get out of here. So it's interesting to see like Nintendo kind of like dictate that, but it's not unheard of.
Yeah.
Like Capcom, everyone's referring to this year as the last time Marvel 3 is going to be at a major tournament like EVO, because Infinite's coming out later this
Sure.
year. Infinite's going to replace it. But like the difference is Melee's just this odd case that like it just endured for all these years, where every other older version of a fighting game, whether it's in Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, no matter what series it's in, eventually gets pushed to the side for the newer entry, and Melee's just resisted for that long. So always an interesting case to see that. But
Can you play Melee with a stick? Like, does anybody do that, or is everybody
sure,
on?
Sure, you can, but everyone
People
plays
play
a GameCube
on
controller.
GameCube, okay.
There's even way more in-depth stuff about you need like a specific type of controller that has like a defect with it. Like that
Really?
player Armada actually refused to participate in a tournament, had to back out, and refused to participate, but backed out. He was unable to secure the controller he needed with that defect that allowed him to do an ability in that game or
Weird.
maneuver, and everyone was like, "What?" They're really hard because they aren't making as many new GameCube controllers anymore.
Sure.
So it's really hard to find new replacements when your existing one gets worn out.
That are broken in the
just
right
another
way.
example of
Yeah,
Melee.
that are
like,
broken in the right way. That's very
it's-
weird.
Melee is weird in that like I don't think majority of the stuff in that game that makes it competitive was ever intended by Sakurai and the creators. It was just like just happened that's how it is, and because that game was in an era before you patch games. None of that stuff ever got patched. Like, I
Right.
fear if they ever made an HD remake,
Right.
half that stuff would be patched out and everyone would just complain about it.
Yeah.
So I think Nintendo's just never going to touch that. I think that's
Yeah.
why there's never an HD Melee remake
They're
coming.
like, this game was a beautiful
They're
accident.
like, sorry, we don't want to touch that. But that was EVO. I just want to give a shout out to EVO for happening, since it happened like right after the last episode, so it just kind of fell through the cracks. But let's get into some actual news now. First up, Nintendo recently launched, just ahead of Splatoon, the Nintendo Online app
Yes.
for smartphones, which is
Yeah.
required for a lot of the some of the online features for Switch games, including voice chat. And Splatoon, one of the big games coming out recently that would make very good use of voice chat. Things didn't go so smoothly for that online app. So let me explain it for our viewers who just ignored it or have heard about it and don't fully know what's up with it. So it actually launched right before Splatoon 2 without full functionality. Actually, the whole thing was under maintenance in advance of Splatoon 2. So like most of the features were just like inactive until maintenance was completed. The app is the only way to use voice chat with friends while using the Switch or playing Switch games. Now it's official. Obviously, you can use other third-party voice tools like Discord, Mumble, TeamSpeak, whatever your heart's desire. But this is what Nintendo is pushing as like their official support for it. And it is obviously tied to in-game functions as well, more than any of those other apps could do. Voice chat will only work in that app as long as the app is active and open on your smartphone, which means if you try and switch to another app, like say you want to go to a browser to look up like a strategy or a YouTube video on Splatoon 2.
Or someone texts you.
Or someone texts you, you want to answer your text. So long voice chat session, you are disconnected.
What if the phone falls asleep?
Oh yeah, the phone has to be unlocked and the screen has to be on. Otherwise, the screen goes off or your phone goes into lock mode. Sorry, goodbye voice chat. It's over.
God.
It's over.
That's insane.
There's also no game audio coming from the app. So if you want to use a headset right now, you either pick voice chat through the headset or the game audio through the Switch. Now, some third-party vendors like Corey offer a workaround dongle for that where you can connect both audios to its one device and then plug a headset into that, but just kind of illustrates the whole point of how ridiculous this approach is. So, everything that was said here, what does it say to you two about Nintendo and their approach to online with the Switch?
Well, the funny thing is like people, like the hilarious meme is like taking a picture of old cables and being like, finally got my voice chat set up, you know, or like I saw someone like plug their like Game Boy Advance into it and like two 3DSs stacked on top of each other. And they're like, all right, I'm ready to go. And then someone actually put a picture of the real thing. And I couldn't tell. Like, I was like, is this also a joke? Right. Or is this actually the real... And I kind of looked at it like phone to head. No, I think that's it. I think that's actually what it looks like. But I couldn't tell right away. Is this a farce of the actual way that you plug this in? Yeah, it just... I mean, one of the reasons I'm happy to have avoided friend code until now is like criticizing Nintendo is just pointless. Like they're just gonna do whatever they want.
Yeah, they're not gonna listen.
And it seems to me this generation probably more than any other that like they really crossed everything off the list that wasn't absolutely necessary. So like I gotta think that like it just would have costed more just to have the app work outside when you click on other apps, to like build in something into the Switch, to build in a port into the Pro controller that I can just plug a headset into and it works that way. And they're just trying to save money wherever they can. And we joke about it, but like I don't know if it's really going to affect sales negatively. Like I mean I wouldn't necessarily need voice chat when playing Splatoon. Like that wouldn't be the end of the world for me.
Oh, sales of the game
to not have it.
I mean I think no one's going to use this app.
Not many people. Why would you? Yeah.
Like, what does it offer any benefit in game over just using Discord or Skype or something?
Buy Splatoon outfits in the app, right?
Yeah, the app does more than just voice chat. It has more like unlocks other in-game features through it.
So for that, you might download this thing, but
yeah, and it's gonna be more than obviously Splatoon. This is supposed to be an integral part of online experience with currently released and upcoming games. And it's also going to become more of a bigger deal when Nintendo's online service goes paid. Imagine if you were paying to have to be able to use this feature. Right now it's free. Yeah. Eventually it's going to be, to play online, it's going to cost money. Yeah. So,
and then we're going to say, see you later.
Yeah. To me, this feels more like Nintendo saying we're doing the bare minimum. Yes, some people want voice chat when they're playing online competitively, like doing a squad-based game. They need to have voice chat. They want to do that. But this is all we're giving you. You know, we don't want... It could be like, as you said, Jones, maybe it's money, but it's also maybe like we really don't want people using voice chat because whether they want like a safe environment, kid-friendly, like that type of thing. I have seen other online games try and go that route. And they get just as many complaints from, certain players who are like, I really wish I could do some kind of in-game chat with this to just communicate with my other teammates to coordinate stuff in the game. Yeah. And so cool, forcing me to go use another program, that's fine. We'll go use Discord, we'll go use Mumble, we'll use whatever the heck we use and stuff. It's just a lot of those games are PC games,
right?
So it's easier to have that integration there. Like there's custom stuff that like makes it easier to support those games. You can hear the game audio and the people talking through one headset. Right. You don't have to buy a stupid dongle to make it all work. This, I mean, think about Xbox and Xbox Live and PSN. They have voice chat in there. You just use the in-game. It's part of the system features. it's just so odd that Switch doesn't offer that.
I'm
And-
actually
and they're
I'm
putting a
actually
game like this.
surprised that they are trying to have voice chat at all, honestly, for the reason
Yeah.
that you just said, because historically in the past Nintendo has said we don't want that because it's not a safe, we can't guarantee the safety of that environment for being kid friendly, you know.
Yeah, well, there have been few games in the past, like Monster Hunter Tri and Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate had voice chat. For the Wii version, it was that dongle, that weird headset or mic dongle thing that they used. It was awful. It was really bad. I actually had to use that for the review and stuff. I'm playing multiplayer to try and try voice chat. But yeah, historically, I mean, DS and 3DS have had some voice chat. Like I remember, I believe it was Mario Kart. One of them had voice chat in one of the lobbies. Like we had to be with friends.
Right.
It was only in friend only mode.
Yeah.
So that's more indicative of
They've always
they
had
want
security.
that safe, secure,
Yeah.
that environment. The fact that they should have just as you said, Ian, why even bother with this? Like just don't offer it.
Well, and to my knowledge or logic too is like, if that's been your stance historically, why change it now? And then why force us to use a separate device when there are already better offerings on that device? So like if I'm already using a phone, I might as well use Discord or something on that phone because it's better. And like it's always going to be better because that's what they do.
I feel like there might be more control on their end when you're using their app, like the part of the secure thing.
Yeah.
So they might be able to convince, especially parents, that this is a safer, secure thing to use than that weird PC thing called Discord. That
Right.
it's the Wild West. Your kid can see
Yeah.
anything on there.
It's called Discord.
Yeah, I think the other reason for why even do it is they see this as this is like a competitive shooting game. So the multiplayer, I think they kind of want to be taking it a little bit seriously. Like they
Sure.
did a pretty decent push with ARMS, just kind of got rejected by the community. Like, no, it's not going to be a fighting game. Sorry, Nintendo. Like, that didn't
Yeah.
work. So they're like, look at all the marketing done to Splatoon. Like, they make it look like esports half the time. They do tournaments. They want it to be embraced by that. Voice chat kind of has to be there in some form. So
Sure.
I think they're just throwing it out there because we got to do something with it. Like, even if it's
Yeah.
our own weird way of it, we're still trying.
But
so.
is there a game coming out in 2017 do you think is also going to need to use voice chat or even the app for purchasing stuff or?
Yeah, because they don't even have arms on it for voice chat or whatever.
I don't think Odyssey won't. I don't think Xenoblade will.
FIFA maybe?
I was thinking that or was it the WWE game coming out maybe? I'm surprised retroactively Mario Kart 8 and ARMS obviously. Those two would definitely make sense. I think it's going to be more important once next year when they switch to the paid mode, and they probably will have some games lined up that are really going to take advantage of online.
Hopefully,
that's kind of what I'm looking for. Right now, it's like a meh to me because it's pretty much Splatoon 2, and I'm blinking. I'm sorry if any reviewers are watching right now and are screaming, that game. We're just forgetting about it. We apologize for that, but right now, nothing's coming to mind that I'm super interested in. That's I need the voice app for this or the online app for this. Nope. Odyssey. Nope. Don't do that.
Do you think that they would leverage the voice technology in some kind of weird, unexpected way? Like you talk through the app to something in Metroid Prime 4 or some weird thing like that? Do you think they would go weird like that? Or
I don't think the way it's set up, I don't think it's going to be utilized for that.
Okay.
I think the apps, more so than voice, it's going to be more used for purchases and stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, we send a push notification to your phone. Hey, guess what? The new Fusion Suit outfit is ready for
Right.
Metroid Prime 4. Would you like to get that now for $2.99? Boom. Buy. All right. We're sending. You unlocked it here. We're downloading it on your Switch right now. It's docked in sleep mode. We'll be ready for you as soon as you get back home to play it. I think it's gonna be more for account management and in-game purchases and stuff like that. I think that's more where it's getting its utility. There's kind of shoehorn the voice functionality. Oh
Right.
yeah, and voice chats in here as well.
can you buy games on it too? Full.
I don't think so right now. I'm not
So
sure.
it's not like the PlayStation
I'll be honest,
app.
I haven't downloaded and used it because I'm not playing Splatoon 2 right now.
Right.
As soon as there's a game that comes out that I really that I need it for, whether it's for purchase and stuff, but because this is already the Switch is already mobile and stuff, it's why do I need this app again? But I guess
Right.
you're not always gonna take your Switch with you. You always have your phone, so I have it downloaded, but I forgot my password. Here's the other reason I haven't used it. I don't remember my password and I was paranoid about resetting it because I thought it was the same as something on my Switch. Like, no, I don't want to reset my Switch thing because everyone's Switches are having weird issues right now. Like, this will be the thing that will like mess up my Switch right now.
Brick your Switch.
I just didn't do it. That's
And you seem happy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You seem fine.
it's cool. Next one I'm looking forward to is Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battles. Like, comes out next month, so cool. You know,
It's August, right?
yeah.
I'm so excited.
I don't need the app for this, as far as I know, so I'm good. But yeah, I did see some Reddit threads and stuff about some players a little unhappy with the option that Nintendo's presented with them. But I don't think it will or is having a profound effect on the sales of that game right now.
Right.
Yeah.
It seems like one possible advantage too, like you were talking about, if they could add other functionality to it, would be like for me to just show you, like, oh, I got this cool hat, or like, oh, this is what my Splatoon character looks like.
Oh yeah.
Or like, oh, look at this. Like, I know they don't like do achievements, but like, oh, look at this thing I unlocked in the game, or this thing that happened.
Be cool if they had
I saw Blood doing that with Splatoon. Blood was like, oh yeah, look at my stats yesterday. Like,
more stats, like if Blood did some matches and stuff, and like, hey, I want to show you a clip from that, but like we're all friends on the app or whatever with their accounts. They can just like share it with us, and it's like a video that was
Cool,
already recorded from a
That'd
Switch
be
or
cool.
something. Who knows? But
woulda, shoulda.
rough start. Well, it could get better. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Rumors, juicy rumor. So we don't even have the ability to pre-order the SNES Classic in America right now, yet whispers of an N64 Classic have already begun to swirl about.
I mean, why wouldn't they?
Nintendo filed a trademark application in the European Union related to various controllers, which included the NES, Super NES, Switch, and the Nintendo 64. Now, speculation has begun because since there was an NES and SNES Classic, NES and SNES Classic,
Switch Classic,
controller patent, this means the N64 Classic is next. Yeah, Switch Classic is also happening. Don't worry,
because they patented that controller.
So, yeah. Are we ready to get excited about N64 Classic yet when SNES Classic isn't even out? And real quick before you answered that, for those of you who managed to snag a pre-order at Walmart, be warned. The word going around is that even if your pre-order hasn't been canceled yet, it will be canceled because they were not supposed to take in pre-orders. The leading reason for why why SNES Classic is not available for pre-order yet, people think it's either because the inventory isn't known yet. Another one says it's not approved yet for sale. It hasn't gone through the vetting process yet, like the SEC filing and stuff like that or whatever. Yes. It hasn't gotten that yet, so it's actually you're not allowed to take pre-orders for it. So they might have been in violation there if they honor those. Who knows what the reason is? It's a disaster. It's a fiasco.
Whoa.
But N64 Classic. I talked about this with Kyle and Blood on a previous episode of our N64 memories. And we went over like what we thought would be on there, what would likely be key missing games. So before I ask you the question of what games you think will make the cut or what games you'd like to see on there, just know that there will be no rare games on an N64 Classic unless Nintendo somehow cuts a deal with Microsoft.
Right.
And that deal will almost certainly involve those games will need to be available on Xbox as well.
Yeah.
Probably the Xbox Live Arcade or whatever the XBLA is now. Keep in mind for me list, NES Classic had 30 games, SNES Classic has 21, so N64 will probably have no more than an SNES Classic. So what are your personal games that will make the cut for this N64 Classic?
Shadow of the Empire's got to be down there.
Oh, you would think that's going to happen, huh?
I would love it.
No chance. Not a chance.
You think it's going to happen, huh, Jones?
I mean, Mario, obviously.
Which Mario?
64.
Oh. This is Mario Party.
Oh.
Is that Blast Core, the DMA design did?
Blast Core.
Isn't that like the legendary, like one of the first like open world?
But
Superman 64.
Blast Core is
just for the lulz,
Yeah.
because everyone needs to play that.
Yeah, and they like
you have to
advertise
like it
heavily.
You gotta play it. That'd be hilarious. I think that would be kind of funny.
If they're like games like Mario 64 whatever, and then they go into like Superman 64 for like a minute and a half.
Could it just launch with only Super Mario 64?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, no, you gotta get
Like I'm trying to think. Oh, GoldenEye.
Yeah, if you don't have
So-
GoldenEye, if you don't have
Perfect
Perfect Dark,
Dark.
if you don't have Banjo-Kazooie, if you
Yeah.
don't got
So you said
Diddy
Blast
Kong
Core.
Racing.
Blast Core is a rare game as well.
Oh.
This was re-verifying that because I'm like,
And is Diddy
pretty
Kong,
sure. So
Racing
here's the
rare?
thing. Diddy Kong Racing was developed by Rare, but it involves the Donkey Kong IP, which is owned by Nintendo.
Got it.
So I am pretty sure that both Diddy Kong Racing and Donkey Kong 64 are free for Nintendo. Like Nintendo has control over those games, can put them out. I think the fact. I don't know if Diddy Kong Racing was ever put on Virtual Console or Donkey Kong 64. There may be hurdles to that, so I'm not 100% sure. But I would assume more so Donkey Kong 64. That's their IP. Because Star Fox Adventures is also Nintendo's as well. That was like Rare's one of their last games for Nintendo back on GameCube. I have to assume those two would be the safest ones, or the ones that you most easily re-secure back to put on. But like Perfect Dark, GoldenEye.
Yeah, that'd be,
GoldenEye's definitely not happening. That's a hornet's nest.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be like very hard to get.
Harvest Moon.
Harvest Moon could be possible. So what are some other ones? There were 2 N64 Castlevania games. Castlevania 64 and
Yeah.
I never even played
Legacy of
those.
Darkness.
Yeah,
Legacy of Dark. I
Uh-huh.
forget what
I've
one.
never
There were
even-
2 of them.
I don't even know if I've
Those
seen
are
them.
some stiff controls right
Yeah.
there.
There were the N64 Bomberman games. Those could totally be put back on there. What else is Konami gonna do? Since they own Hudson.
Mario Kart, obviously.
Mario Kart will be on there.
Zelda.
Star Fox, both Zeldas will be on there. Man, stinks not having any of the Banjo games on there. It's gonna be so disappointing.
Oh, Turok 1 and 2.
I forget who owns the rights now because they just released those in HD on PC or remastered or whatever. But those could be possible. I still think they'd have to negotiate that deal to get them on there.
Any role-playing games on the 64
Uh,
that are of note?
I mean, there's Quest 64. There was, people might want Mystical Ninja on there, Goemon or Goemon or however you pronounce that. That was a game people like, kind of Zelda-ish.
1080
sort of.
snowboarding.
1080 will be there.
Ooh,
Wave Race will be on
yeah.
there.
Snowboarding.
There's Mischief Makers. Is another one people like.
Resident Evil 2.
So I was gonna get to that. So yes, our Resident Evil 2 did come out on N64, and some people argue it's the definitive edition because you actually has because the control scheme has a control scheme on it. There's the only place you can get it, which is technically like can move the camera, or I don't know. Someone always swears by it that it has
Move and fire at the same time.
something
maybe?
like
Or-
that. Like it has some feature on it that none of the other ones have that makes it like the best to play. Like
Where's Hubert?
Loading
control
times are
play.
probably real short.
Oh yeah, because it's cartridge. But I mean, StarCraft also came out on N64.
Oh, weird.
Did
Can you
it
imagine?
really?
Can we get that? Can we work that out
wow.
with Blizzard?
I mean, they're doing that re-release, right? So maybe they would consider it like
Oh, no.
advertising.
I was just gonna say Conquer, but no.
Yeah, no Conquer. I think there's a lot of weird games. There's Buck Bumble was like another weird one.
Which is a bummer because when they
cruising games.
when they updated Conquer, they changed the mini games, and the mini games were some of my favorite parts of that first Conquer.
Any of the cruising games, like Cruising USA, Cruising
Oh,
World,
yeah.
San Francisco Rush, Mortal Kombat games. There are a bunch of Mortal Kombat games on N64, like the traditional ones, and then like the Mythology, Sub-Zero, and what was the other one? Forgetting now. I mean, they had those. So I think they could easily fit 20-something games on there. I think the point that we made on the previous episode, just to hit it home again, is that it's going to be missing those classic Rare games. That's really, really going to hurt, I think. I think it'll still be impossible to find, just because like you put Ocarina and Mario on there and Mario Kart, you're done. Like it's gonna sell.
It's
but
already sold out right
there's gonna be
now.
Such
Thing doesn't
a
even
big
exist.
hole. When I was like, hey, I just want to play Banjo-Kazooie again real quick. Like, oh, an N64 Classic would have been perfect. Nope. Not saying it's impossible. There's Nintendo might be able to work out some kind of deal. They could
I mean,
maybe
they've
work
been
out some
reaching
arrangement.
across the
Yeah.
aisle. I mean, look at Kingdom Battle,
was it-
Rabbids. Like, who
Phil
expected
Phil
that?
Spencer seemed open to the possibility a few years ago. Was open to that dialogue. Made that. I think he said to Reggie, "Hey, we're open to talking. We're not completely closed to the idea." But the rumor that's always gone around is that any deal involving the Rare catalog of N64 games would include a stipulation that that game would have to be available on Xbox, and that the Xbox version could have enhanced features that if Microsoft developed them, they don't have to give it to Nintendo. So like say that GoldenEye deal went through back in the day. Oh cool, GoldenEye is now available on the Wii and Wii U Virtual Console. But it's also available on Xbox Live Arcade. But guess what? Microsoft ponied up the money and resources to enhance it. It's
To
69.
put voice chat in
It's
it.
got 69. It's got like updated textures and stuff. Yeah, maybe there's online multiplayer now.
Yeah.
Whereas the N64 version is just the N64 version,
Right.
which you remember, great, but imagine Nintendo have to dealing with a Microsoft game to say like play the enhanced version of
Right.
GoldenEye.
True
They-
4K GoldenEye.
Nintendo would not stand for that.
Yeah.
They're all for like equal partnerships. They're for collaborations. They're not for letting a competitor get a leg up on them for the sake of just getting something in their inventory. So
Yeah.
I don't see that happening. But definitely, I won't say definitely, but probably coming N64 Classic. So be prepared.
And the NES and the SNES controllers were the same size. The console itself was smaller, but the controllers
Yes,
were the same
controllers
Yeah,
size.
yeah.
So if they release the
Oh.
N64 controller,
That'd be
they have to make
hilarious.
these big things
Yeah.
again.
So we talked about this on the early episode. Like we pretty much all assume that it's gonna. So it's $79.99 for SNES Classic, and N64 Classic will be more than that.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
the controller is gonna cost more alone just to make that. And then the form factor, the N64 was also a little weird too with its curvature on the front. And if it includes two controllers, yeah, that thing's gonna be like $129, like $129.99 probably would be what it settles at.
I wouldn't
my
be
bet.
surprised if they sold it with one controller.
Yeah, because
And
there
then
aren't
you
that
could
many
buy- 'cause
multiplayer.
there aren't that
Especially
many,
if there's
yeah.
if any of the rare stuff is on, especially no GoldenEye Perfect Dark.
Yeah.
Mario Kart would be the one that would hurt the most.
But you
But-
could just buy a new one.
Yeah, I would say like I'd be really worried about getting a second controller for that. I expect that to be like the hardest thing to find.
Unless they sold like an adapter or something so you could use your old one.
They've been using the Wii kind of dongle thing that like hooks
Oh,
up
yeah,
to
yeah.
Wii remotes and
Yeah.
stuff. So possibly
knows?
it's not. Yeah, I think there's one exist. But next up, there was another event as well I forgot about, but news actually came out of this one. There was a event recently called the D23 Expo. Well, there wasn't exactly a Nintendo game there. There was a big reveal for Kingdom Hearts 3, for New World, for Toy Story that happened there, and a lot of press were invited because pretty much everyone knew this was happening. Not Nintendo. Square Enix said ahead of time there would be a new Kingdom Hearts trailer, but a lot of press got to do interviews, and one of those outlets was IGN, and they got to interview Mr. Nomura, Tetsuya Nomura, and they asked Nomura about the possibility of Kingdom Hearts 3 on Switch. And Nomura-san had this to say: Nintendo Switch is definitely a very interesting piece of hardware, but if we lightly say, oh yeah, Kingdom Hearts 3 will be on the Switch, I'm sure people will come back and say, but what about the PS4 and Xbox One? We want them out first. Don't focus on other platforms. So for now, we want to focus on what platforms we've already announced we're going to be releasing Kingdom Hearts 3 on. And so after, perhaps, maybe we can start thinking about other possibilities. To further clarify, Nomura said that Kingdom Hearts 3 on Switch is possible in the future. Also said that previous HD ports, the Kingdom Hearts 1.5, 2.5, and 2.8 versions, could also come out to Xbox One only after Kingdom Hearts 3 comes out on Xbox One and PS4.
Okay.
Once that version's out, or at least when it's done, like when development's completely done on that, they will then start evaluating whether or not they want to put Kingdom Hearts 3 on Switch or other platforms, or bring the previous releases that they've done for PS4
Right.
out to the other HD platforms. So, but with anything Kingdom Hearts, this caused a pretty big stir. Like people were like, "Oh my God, Kingdom Hearts 3 might come out to Switch." And my question to you will be, if Kingdom Hearts 3 were to come out on Switch, but after it came out on PS4, Xbox One, do you think that is going to be? Do you think that'll still have any significance for the system? Or do you think if it just misses that like launch window with the other platforms, it's too little, too late? Would you even want to play Kingdom Hearts 3 on Switch versus PS4, Xbox One? Considering I hope you've seen that Toy Story trailer for the game. Like, they've done side-by-side comparisons of it to the original movie.
Oh, wow.
And it looks really good. Like Unreal 4 is doing some work there for that game. The possibility of that being watered down visually on Switch, is that the type of game you want to play on Switch or not?
Zelda kind of made me reevaluate the importance of graphics in this day and age. That like I was kind of a little poopy on Zelda on Breath of the Wild when I first saw it. I was like, ooh, I don't know if I could really immerse myself in a world that looked like that.
Yeah.
I definitely can. And so I thought, okay, well maybe these games that have an interesting visual aesthetic but aren't necessarily like performance hounds, like maybe they could find a home on the Switch and be just fine. And maybe that might be my preferred console to play it. Whereas we've waited so long for Kingdom Hearts 3, I think it is one of those games that you do want to have perform the best it possibly can.
And I wonder if they were to port the other ones to the other HD re-releases to the Switch, if they would be open to doing something. Because, like you said, it probably wouldn't be the most powerful system to play it on. I wonder if they would do like a super bundle where you could get like all of Kingdom Hearts Forever and 3 on the Switch for like $80 or something, whatever. But like get it all, and like that would be how you sell it. Because I don't think there's going to be a huge fervor for just 3 on the Switch. Because, unless you just have the Switch, which a lot of people do, but, like, that would be a cool angle, just to get it all. Because it's like, if you've never played any of them, like, getting all of it in one big thing would be pretty crazy. Take it anywhere with you.
Both your points are basically how I feel. With you, Brandon, I think the biggest point for me is that I have been waiting, and a lot of people have been waiting so long for Kingdom Hearts 3. I just want to play it as soon as it's out. Whatever it's available on, I'm playing it on that. And it's on PS4 because I have a PS4 right now. I'm playing it on PS4. I don't care. It looks better on PC, and it's coming out 2 months later on PC. I'm playing it on PS4. Like that's that wait, that development period. That's just what happens with that. But the same thing with what Ian said is that I've been going back and rebuying. I bought 1.5 on PS3, and then I bought 2.5 on PS3, and then I bought them both on PS4. Like, I'll rebuy them because it's like an excuse to replay through them again. Even if they don't include 3 in the bundle, even if they just release 1.5, 2.5, and 2.8 as a bundle themselves, I would rebuy those on Switch because I would like to play those on the go. Like, that would be nice.
Yeah.
So I would buy those down the line. And if Kingdom Hearts 3 came out like long enough after, I think, I was like, I haven't played this in like a year or two. That's nice. I think 3, unless it comes out very close to the same time as PS4, Xbox One, I don't think it's going to be a strong selling point for that version alone. Like, that you can play it on the go. Like, that, I don't think people are going to buy it for that. They're just be like, no, I want to play it right away. Yeah. But a nice bundle thing, that will get people to rebuy it. Yeah. They'll definitely have a good, like, resell with that. So that's where
that'd be a pretty huge bundle with all of them. But I mean, it'd be cool.
Maybe like a pre-order. So they like get them now, play the old games, and then when 3 comes out,
when 3 comes out, yeah.
So that was a little bit of, like, I guess it was technically non-news, but like every company is saying, the possibility is there. We'll keep evaluating and stuff, but I mean, that's when a lot of the Western companies seem to like neglect Nintendo. The Japanese developers seem to be the ones who embrace their stuff the most. Mm-hmm. So I think there are some who are looking to like Capcom and Square Enix like for their big AAA releases to see if they were coming to Switch, and as of now, like virtually none from them are coming out. Like,
but it's an interesting. It kind of speaks to the place where the Switch is at right now, where it's like Kingdom Hearts 3, like, no, that's okay. I'm going to play that on a much more powerful system. I don't need to take 3 on the go. I really want to commit to this new story and finishing it up. Whereas, like, I played 2 because I reviewed it, but, like, I never played 1. And, like, if 1 came, like, that old 10-year-old game, I'll play that on the Switch.
Play that on the plane, sure.
The system's in an interesting place where, like, I'm kind of more interested in, like, maybe some Wii U games I missed, or maybe some old games being up-resed, or if something is coming to Switch, I might be excited about, playing other games in the franchise that I'd missed out on. So
you just saying that super made me want to play Silent Hill Shattered Memories on the Switch.
Just anything, like any previous gen game, I think is I'd love to take it on the go.
Yeah, I think it's fair game.
Virtual console, do it.
Yeah, virtual console. We'll see when that happens.
If
tune in next year. Next bit of news. Glad Mr. Bossman is not on the panel today, because he'd be ripping his hair out at this news. Fire Emblem Heroes is actually making Nintendo a lot of money. It's been available for just about 6 months now since it came out, and it has brought Nintendo in around $100 million in revenue, and it's been downloaded over 10 million times. It's a little bit higher than that now. To put this into comparison, at the start of the year, beginning of the year, Super Mario Run had been downloaded about 80 million times in like a little less than 2 months of release of last year. But only 4 million of those 80 million had converted to being paid downloads. Because as you remember, the first world is free to play.
Right. Correct.
But then the game's available at a single price to purchase. It was $7.99, I believe, initially. Then it got jacked up to $9.99 because I think Apple revised its pricing policies. So it was either between $8 and $10 to buy the whole game and unlock everything. Well, only 4 million of that 80 million converted to pay. So let's say everyone did pay like $10 for that. That's only $40 million right there. 40 million. Okay, sure, cool. 40 million bucks. But as of April this year, Nintendo said Super Mario Run's player base was 10 times as large as Fire Emblem Heroes. And they said that Super Mario Run had around 150 million downloads. So if that was 10 times as large, I'd say like about 15 million downloads for Fire Emblem Heroes. So a little bit more than 10 million. But less than 10% of that 150 million downloads had been converted to being paid customers. So less than 15 million were paying that fee. So let's for argument's sake, if everyone would pay the $9.99 price, or about $10, that'd be about 150 million in revenue if you round it up to the full 10%.
Sure.
So Super Mario Run's been out for several months more than Fire Emblem Heroes, and Fire Emblem Heroes has brought in 100 million, whereas Super Mario Run at most has brought in 150 million. Now consider that Super Mario Run was pretty heavily advertised.
Sure.
It got time on, was it Jimmy Fallon, when they also had the Switch on there? Like, Nintendo paid a good amount for the marketing for Super Mario Run, whereas Fire Emblem Heroes had virtually no marketing behind it. So, does this mean that we'll be seeing more games structured like Fire Emblem in the future, rather than that single price per point purchase that was used for Super Mario Run? So, Animal Crossing's the next one. Right. Is Animal Crossing going to have all those in-game transactions and will not be a one price to unlock all?
I don't see it. I think they're different kinds of franchises. I think you first need to address that Mario and Fire Emblem are different franchises. So I could see. My first thought is,
I would say that Mario and Mario Run are different franchises too.
But I wonder if you, being Nintendo getting to the mobile market, you kind of want to release games that maybe do one or the other. That like you release something like Fire Emblem that has like the cast that you want. Like for Mario, I think it's more about gameplay and less about like, I might put $5 down to get Luigi or something, but like I'm not gonna keep coming back week after week trying to level up characters and stuff. Like I just want to beat that level. Where when you get into Fire Emblem, you have that kind of collector's mentality of like, no, I want these characters. They just added some character to the game. I didn't even play that Fire Emblem game, but I want that character because I want to add it to my arsenal. I want to add it to my roster, and so that's a game that I might forget how much I spent on it, and so you don't necessarily need to advertise it that much because we are attacking this fan base and milking them dry because of their commitment to these characters in this world. Whereas, Mom might not be interested in Fire Emblem, but Mom knows Mario, and so she might be like, yeah, sure, I'll drop $10 on Mario, just to like unlock this extra stuff and play the rest of this game. But then I'm done. Then I'm not going to pay anything else. And so I would be surprised if Nintendo thought that Mario Run was going to make more. But I don't think they could sell it the same way that they would Fire Emblem, because it's like, why would I keep putting money into this?
Well, Mario Run didn't have in-game purchases, right? Even though it felt like it did?
No, it was just the one price. They would tell you in-game, hey, would you like to buy and unlock the whole game? But that was pretty much, it was pay the full price, and that's it.
Which is why I think it was advertised more heavily, because they wanted more people from all sorts of walks of life to give us money to buy to buy into this franchise you're very familiar with. Whereas they knew it was just going to be, the sect of Fire Emblem nuts that was going to really like dive into this.
I think I think for Animal Crossing, especially given the other Animal Crossing like offshoot games about like home decoration and stuff like that, I could easily see Animal Crossing being a free game where building your town out and having these relationships and friends and stuff is the free part, but then paying for decorations and cosmetic stuff is like huge for that. I could see them going that route and making a lot of money doing that. But I could also see them I think that'd be more likely than them charging a single flat rate for Animal Crossing. But
one thing I forgot to mention that might have influenced either of your inputs was that Nintendo in end of April or beginning of May did say they were disappointed by Super Mario Run's overall sales performance. So they are not they don't view it in a positive light how it performed.
Okay.
right.
So that would also be more telling of like what they might want to do in the future.
Yeah.
So going off what Ian said, and some of your concerns you had earlier about like Mario is different than Fire Emblem. Obviously they could do the easy, like if they went free to play with in-game or in-app transactions, free to play with in-app transactions would be, of course, you only have a finite amount of lives, or you could buy a power-up booster, which is like, you pay this much, here's like a bunch of like fire flowers and stars that will throw into your inventory, and you can use them on each level. They could obviously do that, but it seems like the character stuff, the visual stuff is the more appealing thing that people want to get. So I know everyone's like, oh, there's only a handful of characters in Mario Brothers, but that's not. They could get a little crazy with it. I mean, you saw in Super Mario Odyssey they have all the different costumes with the hats. So you can have your basic Mario, and Luigi might be the default characters. You might be able to unlock Toad, Peach, Daisy, Mario Golf Mario, or you can maybe unlock Gold Mario or Metal Mario or Wing Cap Mario, or I could keep going for a while here with all the different Tanuki Mario, all these different costumes, and each of them comes with a unique small power that helps them in each of the levels. So that's definitely one thing. So either powered costumes, just superficial costumes to make them look a little different, like outfits.
Yeah.
Just outfits for your characters.
Having costumes with power would be a level design thing too that they would have to come. So that increases your design budget because you'd have to like test that and see if that works or not.
I think with the free content they would like every so often they would add like a new level, like essentially a map.
Sure.
Every then and make it like revolve around a special theme. So like winter, here's some new winter levels for you. Like I'm just going off what they did with Fire Emblem. Like I can see them constantly supporting it with a slow trickle of new content, and they want you to buy like it's not buying the outfits. So here's the thing: I made a mistake. I didn't say you could just literally straight up buy those outfits from the store. You're gonna buy the currency, the gold coins or the purple coins,
which if they do Animal Crossing,
which you can then spend to maybe
currency.
Unlock one of those outfits, those new power up outfits. Which in Animal Crossing, you get all the house, the daily stuff, like that's all free. You can have your house, but hey, I want that certain type of couch. Well, you know what? Complete your dailies, complete your weeklies, complete your monthlies, quests or whatever to get those coins or whatever, and you can spend them on a chance from the catalog. What do you get from the catalog today? Oh, spend the coins, see what random thing it is. Oh, it's not that couch. Sorry, it's another music player or something. Oh, cool. You can put that on there. Maybe you can trade it in. Or if you really want it, keep buying more coins. Oh, you ran out of coins you're out of money? Okay, go on the shop and buy more coins and stuff, which you can then spend on possibly unlocking that sofa from the catalog.
Chance-based stuff is evil. Oh god.
That's the gotcha thing, is that they want you like to get that. And I could see Animal Crossing possibly doing that because the characters are the characters. I don't think anyone's playing that game for the unique characters, or even like the appearances of them in there. I think there's limited appeal in that. It's what you can decorate your house with.
Well, even Animal Crossing on consoles had kind of like dailies.
Yeah.
Like you'd go into the store and you had no idea what was going to be available that day, and so.
But that's like cute because it's not a chance of getting a thing. It's like, oh, what do they have? Like, oh, that's what this character has. The weird thing with Mario to me is like that it had that kingdom building aspect that you had to wait time to like for stuff to show up, and that they weren't, because that felt so in-app purchase driven that it like blew my mind that it wasn't. I'm like, why put this in this game if you're not doing that? You know what I'm talking about?
Like
with the little Toad Kingdom, the little Toad Kingdom in Mario Run.
Oh, I didn't mess with that at all.
Yeah. It's very weird, but it's like that's like classic pay to speed this up, and it's like I'm amazed they didn't have that.
I feel like Nintendo might have an aversion to gameplay mechanic stuff, like paywalling that.
Right.
I think that would be like elicit the most outcry from their community, from their fans. Whereas superficial stuff that might have an impact, obviously, on the game, because obviously Fire Emblem Heroes, some of those 5-star heroes will definitely make your life a lot easier. But you're not paying to unlock like a map. I'm paying to unlock a feature of the game, like a mode. Like none of that is behind behind a paywall. And even like the in-game stamina and stuff, they eventually tweaked it so much that, like, unless you're playing nonstop in that game, which is not how you're supposed to be playing that game, honestly, in my opinion, you never run out of stamina. And you get the daily rewards you get for this relogging in. I've got so many extra bottles to refill that it's a non-issue. Like I've never even come close to being completely out of stamina when I need to buy it. Same thing with like orbs. Like I always have a decent amount of orbs. I don't go spending happy on those. So as long as they make it that you can have a good time and not spend a single cent in this upcoming Animal Crossing, I think they're fine. But for those people who are like, just gotta have that thing, they want that Hector hero, and gonna spend $1,000 on it.
Is there any competitive gameplay in the Fire Emblem mobile game? Like, can you play against other people?
There is a way to play against other team asynchronously, or it's not even asynchronous.
Right,
just
it's
like
just
Galaxy.
not live. But I'm playing against your team.
Yeah, it's their roster.
Right.
Like the AI will dictate their moves, but like you play against their roster.
Because I'm trying to think, in what instances in Fire Emblem are you introduced to the coolness of another player, and therefore, tempted to go out and buy those things yourself?
I mean,
and I could just see that being much more the case in either of those games than in Animal Crossing, where it's like, you go to a friend's neighborhood or village, and they stop by, or they send you a message, and they got some cool shirt on.
Where'd you get that clock?
Oh, yeah.
The lobby in Fire Emblem, sometimes you get a visitor from another player, like a character will show up in the bottom, they'll pop up. Sometimes it's a character you've never seen before, and you're like, who's this? And then, hi, I'm so-and-so. Your friend says hi or whatever. So you can see one of their characters that they have, like, oh, who's that character?
Clever.
Oh, it must be from there.
Yep.
So
Dirty.
more incentive. But
Dirty pool, old man.
Yeah.
I
Expect
like it.
more Fire Emblem Heroes type games coming from Nintendo in the future. Speaking of sales and stuff, June NPD happened. The figures for that were released. Top 10 selling games for June of this year, 2017, were Tekken 7, Injustice 2, Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah, baby.
Still going strong.
Wow.
Crash
God.
Bandicoot Insane Trilogy at number 4. ARMS at 5. NPD goes by overall sales. So next was Breath of the Wild, but technically Mario Kart 8 probably sold more units. So Breath of the Wild and Mario Kart 8 are next on the list.
Wow.
Then Overwatch, NBA 2K17, and Horizon Zero Dawn rounds out the top 10 for June. This now means, with the sales figures that came out, so Breath of the Wild sold like about 145,000 more copies this month. Makes Breath of the Wild the second best-selling game of the year, right behind Ghost Recon Wildlands.
Whoa.
Ghost Recon Wildlands is like number 11 or 12 on the list, and it keeps dropping further and further, while Breath of the Wild's still selling decently. So Breath of the Wild, in all reality, by the end of the year is going to surpass Ghost Recon. Will probably come.
They just announced PvP in Ghost Recon. Should be interesting.
I think that those holiday bundles, when they start bundling Zelda with Switch or something, there is a good chance Breath of the Wild might become the best selling game of the year by the year's end. And I always like to, I don't know why, I apologize in advance, sort of. I have a very strong desire all of a sudden in the last few months to take shots at Final Fantasy 15 whenever I get the chance. Breath of the Wild is close to surpassing 15's lifetime sales in less time than, so Breath of the Wild's been out less time than 15, but it's about to surpass 15 sales. Wow. So don't take so long.
I'm not surprised.
Don't take so long to make your games. Square Enix would be my message. It's if Nintendo could do Breath of the Wild and
get them done super fast, like Nintendo with Zelda.
Yeah.
Zelda took 5 years for Breath of the Wild. Look at the scale of that game.
Right.
Come on, Square Enix. Like, you gotta. Sometimes everything doesn't need to be visuals. But anyway, PS4 was the top selling console of the month. Gonna assume that the scarcity of the Switch had something to do with that.
Sure.
Because that always happens when systems are hard to find. Eventually, there's just no more to sell, so other systems take its place. But we'll see when they restock when the holidays come up. If Switch is still trailing, maybe that'll be more indicative of that. I'd read more into it if we get into November and December and Switch is like not surpassing that or something. But last observation I would say is sort of surprised by Mario Kart's drop off. A little surprised Breath of the Wild's going still so strong. I guess everyone's still trying to get a Switch, or a lot of people are, and the two games you're probably getting are Breath of the Wild first, and then maybe Mario Kart.
I'm seeing a lot of people I follow on social media being like, finally getting started in Zelda. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I don't know. Are either of you surprised that Mario Kart? Because for the past several systems, whether it's been handheld or console, Mario Kart seems to like dominate and be like one of the top selling games, not just of that platform, but of like that generation. Mario Kart Wii, like for instance, like just blew away anything Zelda whatsoever. It even blew away anything Mario. It's like, hey, Mario Kart is just dominant. Like Mario Kart DS as well, which was 7 was 3DS, and Mario Kart actually DS for DS was like, wow, just sales wise. I guess it is a re-release, but still, I thought it would be like in the top 3 or 4 spots for at least, several months is what was my expectation. We'll still see. There's still time, but usually Mario Kart 8 just dominates. But nice to see Breath of the Wild up there. Because the last few Zelda games have not they might have charted, but then they like kind of drop off really quickly. So it's good to see that. Either of you surprised by ARMS was charted. It said it was up there. It was what number was it? It was like number 4. Sorry, it was number 5 after Crash Bandicoot. So Crash Bandicoot sold more than ARMS. So
and ARMS beat Breath of the Wild for this month, right? Is that
yeah, it did. Yeah. But like the Mario Kart 8 and Breath of the Wild were like right behind it. But I think ARMS sold they said like around 265,000. That's not bad.
For Overwatch, is that both SKUs and only game purchases, or in-game purchases too?
Just buying the actual game.
Just the game? Oh, okay.
Yeah. That doesn't factor in.
Because I was going to say, if that was including in-game purchases, I'm like amazed that it's not higher.
Yeah, no, if it had in-game purchases, like Overwatch would be like number 1.
Overwatch would be like way over there.
Finally, something would dethrone Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah.
Wow. Jones, what year will it be when Grand Theft Auto 5 is no longer on the top 10 NPD?
Next year, because Red Dead's coming out.
Because Red Dead.
Okay. Yeah. You don't think both of them are still going to be?
They're going to oust themselves.
I was going to say like 2020.
Yeah.
2020 is the first year we'll see GTA 5 drop.
But I wonder if there's like a player base that plays online that has never really been a Grand Theft Auto fan, but just like really got into online, and I wonder if they would make the jump to Red Dead or not. Don't know.
I got a copy of, when Game Trailers shut down, I think I got the PS4 copy of Grand Theft Auto 5, and I only wanted to play online, but then it was like 60 gigs, and I was like, nah. So I'm like that. I wanted to play online, but not the game. But, yeah.
Next up, another rumor. There was a recent Wii U system update that seemed pretty nonchalant until the data miners went through it to see what else was in there, just in case. And they found a little message in there. The message says, the Miiverse service has ended. Miiverse and any software features that make use of Miiverse are now unavailable. Hasn't gone live yet, but it was included in there and presumably to be set live at a future date, which now has led a lot of outlets to speculate that Miiverse will be coming to an end very soon on the Wii U. So I think it was pretty obvious this was going to happen because the Switch obviously is not using the Miiverse functionality whatsoever. So final thoughts on Miiverse: end of an era, missed opportunities, or good riddance?
Miiverse is just the thing where the little guys show up and they go, hello.
Those are Miiverse was the messaging system where you can share like drawings and stickers. Like
they still do that in Splatoon 2, though, kind of.
They have their own system in there that's kind of like it,
right?
But it's not Miiverse.
It's not Miiverse.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
then the good stuff remained, and what didn't matter went away.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
not something I used a lot. I mean, it does kind of trigger a frustration in me that like Nintendo will announce a service and want people to invest, and then a year and a half later it's gone. It's not just like, oh, we're turning it into something else. It's just like time to throw that thing in the trash and start something totally new. And every time they do that, it makes me less inclined to invest in whatever the next thing is going to be. So if they were to do that and then immediately turn around, do a 180 the next day and be like, yeah, but now there's this service. It's like
Me World.
Yeah.
It's a little more focused.
But no more Miis, basically. Is that kind of what you're hinting at, or like?
That's Miiverse. Like they put a lot behind that. They were touting it as like their big alternative to any other social media platform. It seemed the people that did use it loved it and embraced it, but just them. I feel like there's opportunities there to maybe refine it, and maybe that is what they're doing. Because what Ian just said, like, kind of like just struck a chord with me that maybe they are taking the best parts of what it was, and they're just gonna take it on a game by game basis rather than tying it to their core like account system, like what it was on Wii U, and they brought it. Miiverse came to 3DS as well, yeah. And I there was part of me before Ian said that made me think about that was just like Miiverse, if they just tweak some things about it and like had it like better online support and better online infrastructure and just pushed more use of that, like not just like showing off cool photos, but like some kind of achievement system was tied to it as well, and all that those bells and whistles could have really like taken off and been something like very popular, and it was well liked by the people that did utilize it. But just I think Nintendo might have just finally realized that you can't fight other social media giants. Like people are gonna want to share their stuff on Twitter. People are going to want to share their stuff on Instagram. People are going to want to share their stuff on Facebook. Wherever everyone is where they go. Not everyone was on Miiverse. It had some nice features on it, but that ultimately, like, the system not selling very well, like, kind of, like, put an end to that dream. So, as you pointed out, Ian, like, they do embrace some of those good features, like the drawing, the doodle stuff. It's like, hey, you can share those within Splatoon and stuff. Those are still there. Like, they're still going to be around, and you can share those. Can you even share those like on social media or anything, or is it just within the game?
I think so. I saw a bunch of people tweeting. I don't know if they're screenshotting with their phone or if you can just upload it.
If they built an in-game function to take advantage of like Twitter or social media, then they got it finally. They finally understood like, let them use what they want to use, but provide them the tools to create that content to share.
And wait, Miiverse is on the phone too? That's the same thing, or what was that?
I think there was an app to access Miiverse on your phone, I believe.
What's the thing called where on your phone where you have a Mii? And
that was Miitopia.
Miitopia, right? Or Miitomo?
Miitomo. Sorry.
Miitomo. Okay,
Miitomo, sorry.
Different thing.
That was Nintendo's first mobile app.
Right.
That's
still around, right?
It was super popular for like one day.
For like literally a day and a half.
One day, and then just died off because everyone's like, okay, cool, that's it.
Yeah.
Nintendo still supports it. I still see every now and then I see an email. It's like, hey, new Miitomo's out. I'm like,
we should get like heavy back into Miitomo for like no reason.
For one day.
Yeah.
One day.
Well, and also something I just remembered, which I think is correct, that for Miiverse they had employees vetting all the art before it was shown, so that they wouldn't have like a bunch of drawings of lewd
I don't know
things.
if they all were, but they're either. I feel like some games had were flagged as being like have to be manually approved. I remember my stuff like going up pretty like quickly whenever I did use sharing a screenshot. There's a thing to mark it as a spoiler. And I think some people might have used that to get around maybe the. I
remembered hearing something about there being employees like vetting the art, like looking at all the art.
There would be
and
points where
like
people are trying to like draw inappropriate stuff, so they'd be called in to be like, hey, please police this a little bit better so that kids don't see this stuff.
Well, maybe if they were still having to do that, I could see that as another reason to stop the service. Because that's employing people to do that is very intense.
Yeah, it's like Twitter already has its report features on Twitter. It's also not a liability on them anymore. It's
right.
Like, hey, it's on Twitter's, not us. So probably just reduced a lot of that like workload and unnecessary like red tape or.
Well, and the Wii U is like done, so.
Yeah. So whenever it does happen, it was nice. Thank you, Miiverse, for the short-lived memories, but. The best parts are probably going to try and live on in
I was very happy to see the drawings in Splatoon 2 because I like people's drawings on those. They're always really good. Someone on Twitter that I was reading said that they went to the store and got like a capacitive touch stylus just to draw
Oh, nice.
in Splatoon 2. I was like, that's sweet.
Let's wrap it up with one little bit of news that came out yesterday. I believe it was on the Japanese, somewhere on Nintendo's Japanese site. This information came out about the amiibo functionality for the upcoming Metroid Samus Returns release for 3DS. So they finally revealed what the amiibo does, each amiibo does for the game. And we're going to preface this by saying some of the following things require not only the amiibo, but you to also complete the game. So you need to have the amiibo and complete the game before some of these features are unlocked. And
this is for the
Metroid Samus
for
Returns.
3DS.
Yes,
Yeah.
the Metroid 2 remake.
Metroid 2 for 3DS. Okay.
So here we go. So the new Samus Aran figure, the one comes in the 2-pack, I believe, of Samus and the Metroid. Samus 1 will unlock immediately an Elon Reserve Tank, which is a special ability recovery in-game. And then once you beat the game, it'll unlock a Metroid 2 art gallery. That Metroid 2 art gallery, as far as we know right now, is only unlocked through the amiibo and beating. You have to have the amiibo and beat the game.
Right.
Simply beating the game will not
Of
give
the
you that.
original Metroid 2, of the game that the
Yes,
that,
Metroid classic
Samus
Metroid 2.
Returns is
Yes.
based on. Got it.
So that
If you've beaten the game and then like later on activate the amiibo, do you
I
think
think
it
it
would give
works.
it to you?
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
yeah.
yes. I'm pretty sure that will.
That
work.
would suck.
Then the Metroid part of that Metro Amiibo 2-pack unlocks the Metroid marker, which I initially, like some people in the thread about this, read as Metroid Maker.
Oh,
So I was like, whoa, Metroid Maker, Metroid marker.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to assume it's some kind of feature with your suit or map that tells you the location of the nearest Metroid.
How much you bet it beeps? I bet it beeps when you're close.
Beeps, or it flashes something on like the map icon. or
Metroid
something
games
at the very
love to
least.
beep.
But it also unlocks, after beating the game, Fusion difficulty mode, which also allows you to play in the Fusion suit. Fusion difficulty is a harder difficulty mode. So hard mode and a new suit behind an amiibo and beating the game.
That's less lame.
I'm getting tired of difficulty modes being
Right.
locked behind paywalls.
But it's like not great. Yeah, it's like
The old Samus Aran amiibo, the Smash Brothers Series 1, the Varia suit 1, unlocks immediately a missile reserve tank for missile recovery and a concept art gallery after you beat the game. Don't know if it's for the new version, like the Metroid Samus Returns concept art or other game concept art. I'm going to assume it's for the new game. And finally, the Zero Suit Samus Smash Brothers amiibo unlocks an energy reserve tank. Everyone knows what those are, energy recovery. And after you beat the game, unlocks sound test.
But
What is
not
that?
these.
Like, you get to listen to all the music in the game. Like
yeah,
it's like
yeah,
a
yeah,
music player, essentially. And possibly sound effects. It's an old thing that used to be in
Yeah,
a
yeah.
lot of games that, by default.
Frog Fractions
Yeah.
2 does that.
Yeah.
It's a
So,
interesting reward. Very
That's
specific.
very,
yeah,
very
so
weird.
what are your thoughts on these rewards and some of them being behind a paywall, essentially?
Those are all ridiculous. But if the concept art is concept art of Metroid Prime 4, that would be something. Like it's like a Silent
Yeah.
Hills level like drop
Yeah,
of like
yeah.
info. Like whoa, like that would be something to be excited about.
We're talking about Nintendo.
This is Nintendo,
We're not
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about
Kojima.
Sorry.
Can you
Sorry,
imagine
Dash.
though?
Sorry to dash your
Oh my
hopes.
god.
Includes a trail. Yeah, includes a playable demo, which
Yeah,
unlocks
playable
a
demo.
new trailer for Metroid Prime 4
Yeah.
at the end.
You get a code for a Switch demo of Prime 4.
basically an AR Metroid experience where you have to like find the baby Metroid and
Yeah.
nurture it until it grows up and then reveals the code.
Yeah. And it
Yeah.
doesn't just give it to you. You have to like print out and set all the concept arts next to each other, and then it forms a giant picture.
Oh gosh, you have to line up like the edges and stuff,
Uh-huh.
like
Yeah.
not Stargate, contact style. Or
Oh, yeah.
like, oh gosh.
What are you gonna say?
Yeah, it surprises me that they don't have more kind of like Smash Brothers, how you would level up the amiibo. You
Yeah.
know, like
Oh, yeah.
that. There's not that like when you put the Metroid on, it doesn't like follow you around or something. There's not one of those characters that like has some kind of unique functionality in there. That these all sound like things that they were. Sounds like very early level amiibo stuff, like 3 or 4 years ago, where like we were going to put this in the game anyway.
Right.
And, okay, we'll take it
Yeah,
out
like
and
someone
make
was
you pay
like,
for it.
"Hey, we need to come up with amiibo stuff."
Sound
And they're
test
like,
is
"Ah, crap."
hilarious. That's like the bottom of the
Put
list.
concept
of, like,
art
what's
on
left.
there.
Oh yeah, I guess we could take the sound test out.
Like,
For those people that really like the soundtrack that are like,
my problem with this is that, first of all, even in the scummy viewpoint of let's have microtransactions. There's no fighting the future. They're gonna happen.
Yeah.
The fact is, you still need to have, unless you're going through illegal means, or shady means, I should say, you need to find an amiibo first, then be able to buy it. So the
Right.
scarcity of amiibo compounds the problem of paid DLC or putting stuff behind a paywall. I can't even just like pay the price to
Right.
get this
Right.
content.
Right.
You got to find the dang thing in the stores or online first. So this is probably going to make this become a problem to get some of these if they're not already sold out.
The fact that it's like, yeah, a difficulty mode and the Metroid marker, it's like, I feel bad for someone who loves this game, wants to play more of it, would love to go through another difficulty, but
yeah.
like can't afford to buy amiibo or can't find the amiibo, like, or doesn't want a bunch of extra garbage around their house. Like,
yeah.
it's a drag.
Even someone willing to concede, like, I'll pay a minimal fee to unlock this content. I will embrace this much of your new future. But now, like, getting screwed over, it's like, you gotta go secondhand market, gotta pay X amount of times more. Okay, I'm throwing in the towel.
And
like, you've ruined this.
Nintendo has never gone back on that. They've never like been like this thing that was exclusive to an amiibo.
Right.
Now 6 months later, now you can buy it.
That
if
I
you
can
want.
Not that I can
recall.
recall.
Like, I mean, other game companies will do that
Yeah.
with like pre-order stuff. Eventually, they'll put up in the shop.
Yeah.
Now, my second issue with this is a lot of this stuff reeks of should have been in the game already, or these are rewards for a Metroid game that you should unlock for beating the game under certain conditions. 100% collection rate. You unlock Metroid 2 Art Gallery. You beat the game in under 2 hours, 3 hours. Concept Art Gallery unlocked. Complete it in under X hours with this much percent.
Right.
You get difficulty mode because you proved you're good enough
you're
that you
good
can unlock
enough,
it.
yeah.
Like, this sucks. I mean, maybe they just haven't announced it yet that these are going to be unlocked through those conditions. And I apologize that information's out there. I was checking GAF like 15 minutes before we recorded. I saw nothing about these being clarified. I saw the only clarification I saw is that you need the amiibo and you have to beat the game on top of it to unlock these things. Like, sorry, this sucks. Like, not cool, Nintendo. Like, where are the old days of getting those cool post credits like images or little like cutscenes of, I mean, Samus doing cool stuff. Like, not all of it was. In some people's minds, it wasn't all cool. I mean, sometimes it was like getting her dressed down and stuff, which, that's not the greatest thing, but there's potential there to do something cool, like a cool extra scene that might be more meaningful, like extra story stuff, or just a cool one-liner like "thanks for playing" or something with a thumbs up, like just that nice touch that's like a staple of the classic, gaming generations and years gone by. And like now it's like pay to buy this figure.
Well,
put it down, and then you can maybe see that stuff.
Well, and the weird thing with Amiibo from the beginning, the problem with this kind of stuff, and like a lot of pay stuff like this, is you want it to be cool enough to entice people to buy the thing, but lame enough that people don't get pissed that you don't get it anyway. And it's a no-win situation. You can't have both. I feel like you can't make a thing that's cool that justifies the purchase in game without alienating people who don't want to purchase that, or make it seem like that should have just been in the game in the first place. Unless, like, I think the route to go, honestly, that I don't think Nintendo would really do is joke stuff. Like, if you did have like a Metroid following you around that would like cause mischief or something like that isn't part of the game and clearly isn't part of the game, like that breaks the game, sort of stuff like that. That's like a feature that's big enough to be interesting, but clearly a joke. Like a bonus joke or something. I don't know what a good example would be, but like, I don't know how to make it valuable without seeming lame, but make it lame enough that it doesn't seem valuable. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like Breath of the Wild, aside from the costume stuff, was the chest would give you like in-game items. Like nothing it's still okay. There was a chance to get exclusive stuff, but it was all costume or unique weapons. Yeah. But most high percentages of the chest that you would open from putting X Link or Zelda amiibo on that pad would be, here's some more bomb arrows. Here's some more,
Which is sweet.
Which is cool. Like, oh, all right, cool. It's
Bomb
just
arrows are
it's like
great.
It's like a gift package. Like, here you
Yeah.
go. Sorry, care package. Here's a care package. So in Metroid, like these energy tanks, maybe you're low on health. You put the Smash Brothers
do it
one in
over
there,
and
or put the Metroid one, because in Super Metroid, you know, gave you all the power and stuff. Like, maybe full health. Like, okay, you're about to die, or whatever health you're at, use that Metroid once a day.
Yeah.
Boom, full health.
Yeah.
Like, you get a full health thing on there. Or the missile one, like, is perfect. Like, you put it on there, full missile replenish or something. Like,
Basically,
just
they become cheat codes.
Yeah. Yeah. It
Which is
unlocks cheat
which
options.
is fine, like, because then it's a choice. Like, I bought this cheat code.
Yeah.
Like, that makes more sense to me.
I would say, like, cheat code type stuff is the first level
Yeah.
that is more acceptable. Cosmetic costumes that are just, like, zany and stuff that, like, okay, that's so goofy that was probably never going to be in there.
Right.
Then I would put, like, you know, costumes of, like, things that would be more believable, like fusion suit. There's a history with that it has been unlocked before, so that's something I could see as that could have been a reward for doing something in the game, completing it. And then galleries, concept art galleries, music, sound modes, like that stuff. It's just like, no, like that should really.
There's no connection to the figure too, thematically. You know, it's
Right.
like
Yeah.
music test. Like, what does that anything to
What does
do
that have
with
to
the
do?
actual figure that unlocks
Like,
it?
maybe if like one of them had like a special orchestrated track, like if you got the new ones, it's like, here's a new Metroid 2 theme
cool.
reorchestrated. You only get to hear it if you put it on there.
Yeah.
But like, in game. Like, oh, that's cool. Like,
Right.
that was never going to be in the game, apparently. Like, it's like, this is a special version they made for promotional purposes. Hey, they put it in there. That's cool. Like,
Or, like, they could do, I mean, this is big, but, like, they could do, like, how, you know how the, like, Grim Fandango and full throttle, you can push that button and switch between the old
Right.
mode and the new mode. You could have an amiibo that does that.
Oh.
Like, you put it on and it switches to the old
Especially
mode.
the classic one, like the various suit.
The
would be cool
old,
if it
yeah,
did
like,
that.
that could do something. I don't know.
yeah.
That's a big to-do.
Or
but-
even parts of it, just like old, like Game Boy style, like soundtrack version. Like, this goes back to the old music, or even just changes Samus from the 3D new model to like a 2D sprite version
Yeah.
of what was in the original Game Boy version. Just shifted to be the right proportion to fit the screen and stuff.
Right.
With that. Yeah. It just always gets me a little like angry about this when especially putting it behind Amiibo. I get Nintendo needs to give you a good enough reason, as you're saying, Ian. Like,
Right.
you need something that people think is cool enough to buy, to justify buying these things. But at the same time, it then stinks for people who can't get them or don't want to pay for that.
Right.
Would rather get them through other means, and it's just
Yeah.
no. And I don't know, Amiibos and Toys to Life things that unlock things have always rubbed me the wrong way just a little bit more than straight up DLC purchases and microtransactions. Like, those are bad enough, but this is like a step above that, and
and they're more expensive by far, generally. Yeah.
So,
Aw.
but yeah, we have definitely gone over. That's all I have
Lots to
for,
chat
for
about.
this episode. There was a lot of good
Nintendo.
stuff there. So first, I want to thank you both for joining me on this episode. Your first time on here.
Thanks
Thank you for
having
letting me
us,
say
yeah.
more mean things about Amiibo. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll get to. I'm waiting for that Animal Crossing episode, Jones.
So
That's
am I.
gonna
Oh, boy.
happen.
Oh, boy.
The post-mortem episode, and
Animal Crossing Skylanders.
yeah.
Wait for it.
And again, for those of you who, if you might have missed it at the beginning or skipped over it, there's no last call this week. But in the future, when we do normally do them on a episode where we don't have jam-packed news-filled 2 weeks worth of information to go over, we do a segment called Last Call, where patrons who are $5 and above get to submit their questions for us to answer. Usually we just pick one question and answer it, but last time it was a little bit of a unique case where I just went through everyone's question and answered them. Don't expect it to be the case. It's usually going to be one, maybe two questions. And when we figure out what the next episode is going to be and the subject, I will put that out there as a patron post. Hopefully in the next 2 weeks we don't have as much information to go over as this. Though it's always a pleasure. I love this. I like having so much to talk about. It's like, yep, this got to get it all in here. And we like to keep these episodes to as close to an hour. This one's like close to 90 minutes this time, so went way over, but didn't want to cut any of that stuff. I actually cut a few things out, like something about like the new villain for Sonic, which we didn't talk about at all, which we're not going into. Had to cut stuff out just to kind of keep it some point close to an hour. But anyway, thank you again for being on. Thank you all for watching, and see you next time on Friend Code.